Space, the final frontier. Space Station Ashland sits on the edge of Federation space with its companion ship, the U.S.S. Dilamus Christian. The space around them is full of mystery and strange wonders, where secrets are kept and danger lurks around every corner. The crew of the Dilamus Christian must navigate treacherous waters as they work to protect the Federation. But as they peer into the unknown, they will discover that the line between friend and foe is not always clear. They will be tested like never before and will face challenges that will push them to their limits. Join us on this adventure as we explore the farthest reaches of space and uncover the hidden truths that lie within the shadows. Tabletop Journeys presents Star Trek: Preservations.
The probes are in place. Open communication continues with the primary station. And you've got the Eagle in position relaying information. So at this point, Lacey and Dave, what do you consider your primary target? Are you trying to locate the other team or are you trying to locate the weapon?
I think right now our primary mission should be to locate the other team.
Okay, excellent. Your difficulty is going to be a 2. Your complication range is high at a 18, 19, and 20. You do have the 2 of you who can assist, and you can choose whether you want the Eagle or actually the only reason you're able to do it because of the nature of the issue is because the Eagle's in place. It's basically giving you the opportunity to make the roll. So the DC would be the one, the ship assisting. The Eagle is facilitating the challenge in general.
Okay. Narilla, you want to take the lead on this since you're the sensor expert?
Sure. This feels to me still daring. Or still bold?
You are under some time pressure, so I think you could definitely go with daring and bold. Basically, I wouldn't say cutting corners, but
Doing
being
what we
willing
have to do to succeed.
Yeah, doing what you got to do to get the job done, bouncing signals off such and such just to make sure that you get it, even if that's not the standard operating procedure kind of thing.
And how many successes? 3? 2?
3.
All right. So I'll buy one with threat and then
7.
Nervous laughter. Okay. One's close. I don't think one made it though. Okay, so 2 successes, 1 near miss.
Tanari?
All right. Again, I'm going to make a bid for daring engineering.
Go for it.
That is an 11, which I believe puts us at 3.
Okay.
Now we need the DC's assist.
All right. And Joe, will you roll for the DC?
Yeah. Sensor security?
Yep.
All right. 15. And he gets an 8.
All right. Excellent. So that is 4. That gives you 1 momentum. And you have located the shuttle. It is in the caldera. Its shields are currently operable, but failing. And you are detecting minimal life signs. And it is currently landed on a rocky, it's obsidian because it came from the caldera's outcropping. But as the planet is deteriorating, it is getting far worse.
Are we capable of beaming the crew back to the ship?
Not with their shields up.
Can we get a tractor beam on him?
That could definitely be attempted. But you
All
can't
right.
do it from the DC. It could only be done from one of the shuttles.
Mr. Luson, you're in position with the runabout. Can you attempt to tractor the ship off the surface?
I sure can, sir. He pilots the ship. He gets into position. And I'm going to let you all roll because he's piloting. He's not actually operating the device. So, Dave, it's your engineers who are going to man the tractoring operations.
Okay.
Your difficulty is going to be a 2, but this has a very high degree of complication. We're back down to 16 for complication range.
All right. And what's my total I need to roll under?
Your engineering teams would be, I think we said 14 was what we said for the crew.
Then I will buy a dice with momentum.
Okay.
11, 10, 13. That's 3 successes.
3 successes. You have it tractored. The Eagle would also roll to assist. Joe, do you have those character sheets up?
Character sheets. Second edition Eagle.
The Eagle has landed.
It has a tractor beam of 3. So it's going to assist with engines con.
Yep.
9 or less, and it gets a 4. Success.
All right. You are successfully tractoring their shuttle away from the surface. As you pull it away, the level of magma encompasses the shelf that they were on and it sinks in. It is at this point 1, 2, 3, 4 threat I am spending. On reports, sir, we've got a problem. All the readings that the DC has access to will indicate that the temperature is rapidly increasing. As you're looking at your open feed, Thalor is starting to slump. He's still conscious, still trying to work, but it is clear he is losing steam. The caldera is about to be in a major eruption.
The manipulations that Thalor was doing to the subspace field, can we do them from the Dilamus Christian?
It does not appear that would work fast enough. Could you make the calculations? Yes. He is not only processing calculations with some assistance from what Norella did, what he is also doing is inputting them directly into a physical device that he is operating to engage those protocols. So they actually have a device that is supporting or bolstering the subspace field. So they're generating the energy to increase the subspace distortion from planet side. So while you could make all the corrections and stuff there, if you're not putting those calculations into the machine directly, it's not going to work.
Okay. I'm going to put on a environmental suit and beam down.
Kanari, when you arrive planet side, we are at OP3 overall. Your suit's reducing by 1. Obviously, you're Andorian, so it goes up by 1. So everything you do has an increased difficulty of 3. The calculations, because of the assistance, are fairly easy. That's only a 1. Inputting the information, therefore, with the 3 would be at a 4. But that complication range is 17, 18, 19, and 20.
Okay. I'll also come down with an extra comm badge, slap it onto Thalor, and order an emergency beam out to sickbay.
He tries to wave you off. Let me help.
You're in no condition. Once you get to sickbay, you can talk me through it if you need to.
Hand me that. And you can see a stack of combat stims. He's actually been propping himself up with those for this entire time. And like a bunch of them littered on the workstation, but there's 2 remaining.
I'll call for the emergency beam out.
You can see the fire in his eyes as the field envelops him and he is beamed to sickbay. Okay. How would you like? Oh, okay, so you're going to be putting that in. I've given you the challenge. This is your moment to go ahead and enter your first set of calculations.
Okay.
I'm going to ask you a question and do this as a gated challenge. One, do you want to double check the work that was already done, or are you trusting that the guy who was slumped over at the table got it right? Because he's finished the calculations. He was about to enter them when you got there.
How bad do things look?
Based on a quick cursory glance of the readings, if you don't get this right, the field's going to break down.
All right, double check them.
All right. Because you're double checking, you're not using bold. And this is the double check, so this is slightly easier. This is going to be a 2. No complications on the challenge.
All right, so I'm going to use daring science,
Okay,
and I will buy a dice with momentum.
you got it.
Oh my God. 1, 3, and 4. So that's 4 successes.
All
Who are
right.
you and what did you do with Tanari?
Yeah, I know, right? Somebody's been taken over. If I could count on anyone to have rolled a complication, it was right then, right now.
Adam, if you've jinxed me, I will find out where you live.
The calculations are good.
Okay, put them in.
All right. Entering the calculations, engaging the equipment. You have the roll. It is 4 with a 17 to 20 complication.
Difficulty 4?
Yep.
All right.
You can use bold at this point.
Can I call daring engineering for this since it's a piece of equipment?
Sure thing.
All right, so I will use bold engineering. I will buy 2 dice with 1 threat and 2 momentum.
Okay, that leaves you with 4 threat, 3 momentum.
And I will get 1 success with procedural compliance.
Okay.
And is this a computer? Can I use my computer's focus?
It is.
All right. 3, 7, and 17.
So 17
So-
is that complication.
4 successes, and I can re-roll the 17.
Yep.
That's a 14, so that's 5 successes.
Okay. That'd have been 4, so that gives you 1 momentum. You are in. You have restabilized the subspace distortion field. You have momentum. Is there anything you'd like to do with that momentum in this moment?
Can I spend a momentum to figure out where the epicenter of the subspace anomalies are?
You may.
Let me do that, and I will send the information back up to the DC.
It is located in the caldera. It has a shield. It is under the magma/lava flow, and it is generating this wave from within the caldera.
Okay.
Based on what you're looking at, the way you can figure the ship was crashing, and it chose, because it had shields, it chose the lava flow because it would not allow it to break up. It hits a liquid, it has a better chance of survival than hitting the hard ground.
All right. Send this information back up to the DC.
Right. As you do that, you will have stabilized the field. Joe, would you roll for Saint-Lucent as he is trying to pilot through the calamity?
2 19s.
That's where I went.
He is able to pilot up, but the flow and explosions from the eruptions sends a geyser of magma hitting their tractor beam emitter. While shielded, it wasn't quite enough, and the shielded shuttle plummets towards the caldera, sinking into the magma. Sir, I've lost my tractor beams. The ship, it's going under.
We see that, Ensign. Mr. Arvik, move the Dilamus Christian into position.
Aye, sir. Are you talking about position for tractoring, sir?
Move us into position.
Lieutenant Lana will speak up, says if we can contact them, tell them to drop their shields, we can beam them out.
That's what I'm thinking, Lieutenant. Chief Reddiot, transporter room. I want you to find me a way to beam whoever's on that shuttle off of it.
Okay. We're going to swap over to stellar cartography and the lieutenant commander and Lieutenant Neelan as they are monitoring sensors and monitoring readings. You are aware at this point of the situations that are happening, but we're going to start with you slightly before we got to that point. So, such that by the time I give you this information and you've realized and processed this, you'll have the info right at the time that Joe's most recent command went out. Essentially, going through the data and going through that information, what you were able to determine is the crew that is on that ship is unconscious. So there's nobody on board to do anything. And go.
Is there any way to override virtually or get there to manually before to override their shields before all is lost?
There's this old Kirk era thing called using command codes.
Sounds bold and daring.
It sure does.
And in theory, the lieutenant commander should have them, since it's her shuttle.
She does, and she provides them to you. And she will assist you if your goal is to transmit them and then create that uplink to the bridge. You can certainly do that. Because you have the codes, there's no increased complication range, but to get it right and in time, this would be a 2 difficulty. So you're the lead role, and then the lieutenant commander would be assisting.
I would be the lead role?
Yep.
Okay. So you said it sounds like it can be bold. So let's use threat because lives are at stake. And you said the difficulty is 2?
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, let's do it.
Right. You spend in threat?
Yes, 1 threat. And then remember how I asked to review the rules on determination? So I would like, can I make 1 die an auto crit? Is that if I use my focus or my value?
That is
After
correct.
you
Which
roll.
value? Yeah.
Yeah, I rolled a 19. So
Perfect.
I'd like to make that a 1.
Excellent.
Crit.
And which value were you engaging?
What?
Which value were you engaging?
I have a lot of values that actually all apply, but the one I think is most relevant is I value the connections with others.
Sounds good.
But if that's not good, my other one that I think really fits is it's always worth trying.
I think that one fits better because you have not met these folks. If it had been Ensign Luson's ship that went under, which was an option, by the way, I would say the first one would be better because then you know your crew.
Yeah.
So I think the second one is the one. And if you write that down, because that can come up in your reputation rolls and later on for advancement purposes. So you just want to write down which value you used in this case.
It's always worth trying. Just for the record, my other value that I think is also relevant is we're all connected despite being worlds apart. I really went hard into this.
In a world of separation, I choose values that bring us together. I get you.
Yeah.
I truly get you.
So that would be the crit and 1 more success.
Okay, so that's 3. It was 2, so that's 1 momentum. We're going to roll for the lieutenant commander. She only rolls 1 die in this case. She is 1 success because command codes. I'm sorry, she gets 2 successes because it's command code. So we're going to go daring and command. That is a critical success. So she's got 2, which is going to give you 3 total momentum. If somebody would be kind enough to roll for the DC. Adam, you want to take that one?
Sure. Let's see, that would be computers and con.
You're submitting codes. It would be communications and security.
Oh, which is even better than I thought I was going to be using. Yeah, 1 success.
All
On the
right.
dot.
So you've got 1 bonus momentum with this challenge. The bridge has the command codes to operate the shuttle as they see fit, and you have 1 bonus momentum. Is there anything that you wish to do with that bonus momentum?
Is that bonus momentum in addition to the science officer bonus if I succeed and I'm using the ship's computers or sensors?
It is an addition, but I believe the science officer one has to be used for obtaining information. This other one does not necessarily have to be used for that.
I do want to obtain information though.
Okay.
How dire is the health of those people on the ship? So they're
They are bad off. They have run out of whatever. They are in critical heat injury status, such that without immediate medical intervention, they could perish.
okay.
We have enough momentum to get the ship to take off on its own.
You have the code, so you can just make that order. If you spend an additional momentum, we could just do that instantly, so you don't lose any time for the health of the people
Yep.
in
Yeah.
jeopardy.
Yeah,
'Cause
once
I
it's
do
out of
have-
the
I
once it's
do
out of
have
the
a
lava,
target
we
number.
can. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, because I have a target number for where they are with their injuries as far as saving their lives. That gets worse every set of actions it takes them to get to sickbay. So you can bypass that with expending an additional 2 momentum at this stage.
Okay, because once we have control of the ship and we can fly it, we can drop the shields, beam them
Yeah.
up. I'm interested in saving the ship itself for a couple of reasons.
Understood.
Didn't it hit the magma and everything?
It
Like as
did.
part of the complication. So essentially, as it's like sinking, like we do the drop the shields and beam them out, and as it like melts in, we see the inside, and the transporter engages, and they show up on the pad as it like blows up.
I got the impression you were going to try to fly it and you had spent the momentum, so I thought you were flying it out of it. The only reason why it wasn't flying is because nobody was awake to operate it. It
Right.
was
Well, I thought that,
operable because its shields were up.
okay, because with the double complication, I thought it had not only lost the tractor beam, but then it's like now back in the magma. What are you gonna do?
It is, but consider it like in a bubble, and that bubble is sinking, is what was happening. So,
Perfect. So yeah.
Yeah, so you have the shuttle in air, still in Atmo, but you were able to beam people away, and then the bridge Arvik transfers it to another junior con officer to actually fly the shuttle back safely.
Yep.
And we're going to go back to Tanari at the primary station. It is time for another set of codes. Your challenge is 2 to generate the codes, and then your challenge to enter them again.
What's our threat momentum level at?
Threat is 5, momentum is 4.
All right. So, daring science again. Let me spend a momentum for an extra dice. And since we're hooked up with the DC, can I either get assist from someone on the DC or the DC itself?
You sure can.
Okay.
Yeah, both, in fact.
All right. So am I getting an assist from Rilla or from one of the generic science officers?
I think you would have to get that assist from either Ocean or Tobor, as Narilla is.
Do you want Duncan to assist?
Is it engineering or is it a science task?
It's a science task.
Then it's
But the
me.
calculations are
Okay.
a science task.
Reason science is a 14. I get a 10. So 1 additional assist.
And then for the DC?
Lacey, if you want to roll for the DC,
11.
I rolled a 7.
that's a win.
5 successes.
Yep. And so we are maxed out on momentum. You have the calculations. Now you're entering them.
Right. So, daring engineering again. I will buy 2 dice with 1 threat, 2 momentum.
And 4.
I'll go ahead and get 1 success with procedural compliance.
Okay.
10, 14, 2. So altogether, that's 5 successes.
Excellent. You have entered it successfully. You're stabilizing it. And that gives you 1 momentum back. So you're 5 and 6. Momentum to threat. At this point, I am going to spend another 2. The heat has gone up by 1. So we are now at OP. We were at 3. We are OP 4 at this point. which means your challenge to enter would be a 5. Your challenge
Okay.
to do the coding would be a 3.
Do we have enough information to extract the source of the subspace interference? We know that we have a target on where it is, but do we have the ability to get that out in any way?
We have a high-powered tractor beam on the Christian itself, which is what I'm ordering Arvik to maneuver us into position.
Okay.
And you are in position. He's basically made you go Atmo.
Yeah.
For the
Going
second
Atmo, and I'm not on the ship?
As you are bringing the ship in, I am going to spend 2 threat. Ensign Cater reports, Captain, we have successfully entered that atmosphere. She's creating a lot of stress on our structural integrity field.
Shields
Dispatching
up.
personnel to keep us together.
Shields up, yellow alert. Mr. Valeric, keep an eye on our structural integrity field.
Sir.
This particular issue has increased the complication range on your next action. Because the OP heat is a factor external, not just for people, but for all tasks in the environment, we are at OP4, which means tractoring this has a difficulty of 5. And the complication that I just bought with threat is damage to your structural integrity fields. So it can create damage to the DC if things get complicated here. The task of tractoring this ship at this point will be 5 and an extended complication range of 17 through 20.
All right. So I'm going to direct Lieutenant Alana to engage tractor beam, pull that ship out of the magma. And I will give you 2 threat, Lee, to use voice of authority on my assist. Okay. I'll wait till I see the roll because I can't assist if at least one success isn't obtained.
Okay.
What's the difficulty?
Normally,
it's 5.
Yeah.
It's 5?
Yep.
All right. 1 threat, 2 momentum to get 2 extra dice. I'm assuming I'll be able to get assist from...
He spent more than 3 threat. Get your Bajoran determination.
Thank you.
Dang it! Those profits will forever be a thorn in my side. I think for the first time in my life, I'm going to say I'm with Goldacott.
Better be with Goldacott and Kai Wynn.
I don't think I could ever utter that phrase, not even in jest.
All right. 11, 7, 7, 15. I have a 14. Because I follow the example of the emissary, I'm going to spend that determination and turn that 15 into a 1 and get that 5 successes.
And then I will not give you 2 more threat, Lee. I will just roll my assist normally now that I know we're succeeding. And I get a 5, which I have a focus in composure. So cool under pressure. I will give you the 2 successes. And then structure security for the DC for its assist is 9 plus 4. Need someone for a 13. Adam?
Right, I got it. No.
Okay. So 2 momentum on the challenge. You successfully tractored this ship out as it breaches the caldera. The work you're doing on the subspace field becomes much easier. In specific, it stabilizes once it's out of the magma. The planet is still going to degrade, but you now have the time. You have succeeded. Are you going to try to tow this thing away from the planet?
In fact, I'll spend 2 momentum to successfully tow it away without...
You need your personnel off-world before you do that.
To get it into an orbit, that's...
Because the moment that leaves, the ability to impact the protoplanet will degrade and explode. So you need to get your personnel off-world, get your ships back to the DC, and when you leave, hope you can get far enough away where the exploding planet doesn't negatively impact you or it.
You can get
Got it.
Lusan to fly down and beam me out.
Exactly.
Yep.
Mr. Lusan, get Mr. Tanari out of the facility.
I'm just waiting on your word, sir. And in that moment, Tanari is beamed out.
And once I get into the runabout, I'm turning up the air conditioning.
Yeah. You do that, and Lusan, with his third arm, hits a button on environmental controls. And once your helmet comes off, he has like a little cold mister that is hitting your face. And he says, "Come on, sir. You didn't get aboard the fleet's worst shuttle." They take off to dock with the DC. At this point, you have all the right stuff. You're making all the right moves. You're ready to go. There is one roll that it's going to be necessary, and this is to see if the exploding planet negatively impacts the ship you're now towing.
Once Tanari's back on the ship, Mr. Tanari, enhance our warp bubble field as much as possible to carry the towing ship so that once we jump to warp, it will remain. We're going to take this nice and slow and get
Aye,
us.
sir.
Mr. Arvik, we're going to go nice and slow. Warp 1 on Mr. Tanari's signal.
Yep. Your difficulty is only going to be a 2, and that's mostly because of time pressure.
Okay, I'll go ahead and spend a momentum.
And Dave, you've got engineering teams as the engineer, so you can get engineering teams to help you for a opportunity cost of 0.
That drops the difficulty by 1.
Yep.
And then with procedural compliance, I automatically get a success, so I don't even need to roll.
You have to roll the 1 to make sure you don't you get
Complicate anything?
I did not get a 20.
All right.
Dang it. This might be the first time Tanari has gone through a session without rolling a complication. Well, actually, you did roll. You rolled 1, but you were able to talent out of it. So that's fairly consistent.
Come on, we're blowing up a planet here.
This is true. Shielding is fine. You're good to go. Difficulty to pilot out of this is only going to be a 3. There is a high complication. We're going to go the full boogie. So we are talking 5. So 15 through 20 is the complication range to fly out. Arvik's at the helm.
As captain, I'll give him one of my determinations, and I will assist with advisor.
All right. And when Lieutenant Tanari gives the mark, I'll let you say when you're ready, Dave.
All right, Arvik, let her rip.
By the numbers, sir. And Arvik is going to be rolling. There are 4 momentum. Would you like Arvik to add a die?
Add 2.
All right.
Spend 3.
All right. He spends 3. That leaves you with 1 momentum. He's got 4 dice rolling. And Arvik has the 2 successes. He also has a 20, a 19, and an 18.
So he's gonna use his determination to make the 20 and 18, 20 to a 1.
Okay.
He's gonna spend the determination I gave him to make that 19 a 1.
Okay.
I assist, and because I have the advisor talent, I can let him re-roll the 18.
The pause is for dramatic effect. If anybody can tell me what number I just rolled,
it's either a 1 or a 20.
They'll get a free determination.
I say 1.
It's a 1.
I say 20.
Lacey?
I think that I'm going to say 20, unfortunately.
Okay. So just because we've never done this before and I think it'd be cool and I want to see what people say, I'm not going to say on air what I rolled with that last one. We're going to let the audience answer what they think it was, but I will show the camera what it was, and then we'll see if the audience, how many of the audience guessed the right number. He is successful all totaled. There is a boatload of momentum that is resolved from this. Because this is the last moment of the episode from a mechanical standpoint, I'm not going to worry about the maths on that. We're going to let the audience try to figure that out, because if we do the math, they'll figure it out just mathematically. But what we will do is say this: you're able to fly out and get to work before the exploding planetoid impacts either you or the towed vessel.
And we're just jumping just far enough to be safe
from the planet.
Drop out of the warp. Like at the
In
edge
the
of the star
safety of
system.
all of this, you have that ship, you have that weapon, the personnel involved are okay. They were saved. Spending the momentum got them back in time where your staff is able to take care of them. All of the sensor work you have collected, the data to satisfy those requirements of the mission. You have all the raw information. The only question I have for the crew before we close this episode is, you now have this device. What has happened to the others? Do you wish to spend time with this device, gathering information, and you also have the shuttle as well, before this gets reported back to Aslan Station, knowing that the last time these devices were, Starfleet Intelligence took over the investigation and left you with nothing?
So we can make this in the conference room.
Yep.
I say not only yes, but hell yes.
So as I enter the conference room, I have 2 cups with some sort of frozen. It's basically it looks like almost like a sorbet, and I put one in front of Tanari. I've never tried this, but my daughter recommended it. It is a bowl of esh custard.
Thank you, sir.
And I go to take a spoonful of it myself, and I rolled for this ahead of time, by the way. And there's an expression on my face that is just a little bit unnerving. And I put the cup down.
No fish, chips, and custard for Ocean.
I'm also going to invite Lieutenant Commander Mahebe.
Yep.
To this meeting.
Oh, then there would have been 3 cups.
What, none for the captain?
No, that's the commander, not the Andorian. Never mind.
Yep. So, are you inviting him? Because he's fine now. He's been he's all set.
Yeah, if he's been invited,
no. All right.
If he's been invited, yes.
All right. You're in the conference room, and the floor is yours, Captain.
Lieutenant Commander, so we have some good news and some bad news. The good news is that your expedition crew seems to be and will be fine and make a full recovery. According to my doctor, a lot of dehydration, a lot of heat stroke and heat exhaustion and side effects from that, but they will be none the worse for wear.
Thank you, Captain.
And I was trying to put my finger on it when we were discussing it earlier, but you were at the Subspace Stellar Conference that Commodore Pritchard organized on Aslan Station a couple years ago, weren't you?
Yes, I was. There's a terrible accident, I hear, but I was not near where the accidents occurred, but I did hear about them from some separate meetings I was having. I was working on trying to get a fellowship to this area at the time, but with all the calamity, I ended up not being able to hold that meeting.
So, Commander, I have a question for you. Do you want in or out?
She looks at Lieutenant Nealon. I have it on good authority, Captain, that yours is a crew that I can trust. Make no doubt about it. I want in.
Very good. DC, initiate Epsilon protocol.
The lights go purple. And we're going to stop right there because we know what's coming next. All right. That episode was crazy fun.